Am I the a-hole for wearing a kilt to my own wedding and not apologizing to my wife? 1 month ago my wife J, female 33, and I, male 34, had a small wedding ceremony in my hometown. I'm Scottish. J is American. We met in school. The ceremony and reception were both incredible, and I'm thrilled to be married to the love of my life. That being said, a few nights ago we got into an argument over this that turned into a big fight, and I need some objective input on the situation because I'm not sure where I stand now. When we were planning the wedding, Jay did the majority of the planning, but I did try to help where I could without overstepping. I brought up to Jay that I wanted to wear my late father's kilt on our wedding day. My father and I were always extremely close, and losing him has been difficult. Having something to remember him by on our wedding day. When I ran this by Jay, she said that she thinks that kilts look stupid and our wedding photos would be embarrassing. However, after explaining the importance of the kilt, she seemed to understand and said that I could wear it if I needed something to remember him by. At the time, I thought we were in complete agreement. So, on our wedding day I wore my father's kilt. A handful of family members also wore kilts. It was about 50-50. Jay never once said anything about it then. But a few days ago, when we got our wedding photos back, I saw that the photographer had photoshopped out my kilt. When I brought this up with Jay, she told me that she found it embarrassing and didn't want wedding photos of them. I really had thought we were on the same page about this, as it really meant a lot to me. We ended up getting into a huge fight where she accused me of not respecting her, and I accused her of not respecting my father and my culture. I went out that night with my friends, who took my side, but got a nasty text from her friend accusing me of being selfish and uncaring. I haven't apologized to Jay, and don't plan on it. I feel that she should have spoken up on this instead of just agreeing with me and expecting me to figure it out. I honestly thought we had been on the same page about this. After she gave me the okay before our wedding, I know this dumb, but I could stand to hear some objective input. Sorry if this is jumbled or unclear. Thanks. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry, but your wife is 100% an a-hole. She apparently forgot that it wasn't just her wedding and completely disrespected you. And then to bring her friend into the mix and let her friend text you disrespecting you as well. She breached your trust by going behind your back and photographed something out that she agreed to and completely disregarded your wishes and your culture. I think you need to give her a big dose of reality that she isn't the only one in your relationship and you get a say as well. She owes you a major apology. I'm not going to tell you to leave her, as that's not my place, but I'd be sure to keep this in mind for future, that if she's this disrespectful and controlling over your wedding, what is she doing to be like when you buy a house or have kids? Is your opinion going to even be considered or matter? This is something that's bigger and should be discussed. It's a question I'd honestly bring up. This how our whole marriage is going to be. You're going to ignore or override my choices and opinions without even consulting me? Because that's something you should know now. Not the a-hole. What your wife did was incredibly rude and disrespectful. She marries a Scot in his hometown in Scotland and freaks about the kilt thing. That makes no sense in the first place, and as this particular kilt had sentimental meaning to you, being it was your late father's, her photoshopping it out is just gobsmackingly awful. Has she explained why she finds the kilts embarrassing? Not that her explanation matters, I suppose. This was your wedding as well, and you got just as much say as she did in the planning, including your outfit. But my gosh, I'm curious as to what her reasoning was. Kilts are very standard attire for Scottish men at weddings. What did she expect? Not the a-hole. She embarrassed herself, especially in regards to the photographer. Oh, to be a fly on a wall in that photographer's studio. I bet she gives your marriage 3 years tops. Your bride absolutely disrespected your culture, your father, your relatives, and you. I don't know if it was Bridezilla brain or if this is a pattern of behavior for her. I don't want to be too dark, but it feels like this is your father doing you one last favor in showing you who your wife is. I wouldn't let her sweep this giant pile of shit under the rug. I'd also ask where she gets off bullying you by getting her best friend involved in an attempt to make you feel bad. That's completely unacceptable. Not the a-hole. Yup, this is part of toxic wedding culture. The bride has been conditioned to believe that the wedding is her show and her show alone. And she's completely insensitive to the fact that there's a second person in this marriage whose wants and wishes matter equally and should be respected. The way a woman behaves towards her wedding yields perfect insight into how she'll behave as a wife. I don't mean to sound sexist, but it's true. When you give anyone an opportunity to behave as a d-bag with zero ramifications, and they act like a d-bag, well, then you know they're a d-bag. Sorry man. Not the a-hole. I personally don't care for the kilt look. However, if the man I loved wanted to wear a kilt on his wedding day, I would be happy for him and his culture. I mean, what is a wedding if not bringing two separate people / families / cultures together? You add on top of that it's a cherished item of your dad who has passed. Wow, why wouldn't she want the kilt in the picture? Has she not lost anyone super close to her? Sometimes if someone hasn't lost someone close, they don't understand the significance of having the deceased there in some way, of honoring the deceased. Not the a-hole in her version of you not respecting her. You're being disrespectful by having a different opinion about what you wanted to wear on your wedding day. If you had asked her not to wear a white dress but that's what she had her heart set on, would she have been disrespectful for wearing one anyways? In your version of her not respecting your father and your culture, she has repeatedly said that they embarrass her and that's her reason for going behind your back and photoshopping them out of the existence of your wedding photos. They are not the same thing. You were actually disrespected. She was not. It's fine to have a difference of opinion, but for her to purposely go behind your back to make a decision regarding the wedding photos is a total betrayal of your trust. Also, it's just as much your wedding as it is hers. Why should she get ultimate say in what she thinks both of you should wear, while you get none? When you factor in the reason why you wanted to wear the kilt, it's absolutely abhorrent. This isn't a matter of I wish you'd chosen a black suit instead of grey. I don't like it. This is I'd rather you pretend you don't belong to your culture, because I'm not a fan and I don't care that this family heirloom relating to this culture is going to make you feel more connected to your deceased father on our wedding day, which translates to the pictures are more important than the event. It's Instagram perfection seeking, and it's quite frankly appalling behavior. You marry a person. The wedding isn't the important part, the person is, and the fact that you're sharing the rest of your life with them. If your culture and background is so embarrassing to her, maybe she shouldn't have married you. I'd be asking her these questions based on this, if I were you. Not the a-hole. As someone who also lost their father and wanted something to remember him by on my wedding day, this is truly horrible. She owes you an enormous apology and you should definitely get the originals from the photographer. I'm assuming both her parents are alive, and so she doesn't realize what a big deal this is. I agree with most people that this is a red flag, but you could give her the benefit of doubt and try talking to her. A wedding is not only about the bride and beautiful photos. It is about family, cultural history, and bringing two people with different families and cultures together. It is important that a wedding represent both of you. Also, I bet those photoshopped pictures are way more embarrassing than the originals, which the photographer definitely has. I hope you got a shot with you and the other kilt wearing Scotsman. Get an enormous print, frame it, and hang it up in your house. Wearing a kilt is not so strange. I'm American and I've attended several weddings where the groomsmen and some guests were wearing kilts. One of them, I didn't realize they were Scottish until the wedding. Not the a-hole. If she had that big of a problem with it, she shouldn't have agreed to everyone wearing kilts. I could maybe understand if she only had them all to 1 or 2 pictures and had the whole set of pics with kilts plus those couple altered, so she did get a few pics in the way she pictured. By the sounds of it, every picture was altered and there are no pictures of anyone in kilts. Or am I mistaken? I'd call the photographer and get another set of the unaltered pictures if it's still possible. They usually hang on to their originals for a while in case there's any issues. It'll cost money for those though, since they did the job they were asked to do. Not the a-hole. My husband wore a kilt to our wedding 21 years ago, along with his groomsmen. They were beautiful kilts and everyone looked fantastic. We have a lot of Scottish heritage on both sides and my husband wanted to honor that, and I loved the idea. Having said that, even if I hadn't loved the idea, I love the man, which makes the idea sort of inconsequential. Unless he showed up naked, although I certainly would have enjoyed it, I wasn't going to protest, because marrying him was the best thing that ever happened to me. The pictures turned out beautifully, because we're all happy. I hate to say it, OP, but your wife is focused on the wrong things here. The wedding is just the beginning. You have a whole lifetime ahead of you. I'm not implying that you run now. I'm definitely saying that counseling is in order, if she's willing. If she's not able to honor your heritage now, what will she be like if you have children? Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. See you all later.